Russ's Movie Corner. As you can see, I'm in front of my movie wall, and today I'm reviewing Skyscraper. This movie is out in theaters now, so if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. It is really good, and today we're going to talk about it. Skyscraper is directed by Ronson Marshall Thurber, who also did double duty as the writer, and stars Dwayne Johnson, Neve Campbell, Chin Han, Roland Muller, Byron Mann, Noah Taylor, Pablo Schreiber, and newcomers McKenna Roberts and Noah Cottrell. Okay, so 30 years ago, actually this year, this week that Skyscraper came out, Die Hard premiered. This movie kind of redefined the action genre. Beforehand, we saw war films and buddy movies and that kind of stuff. And yeah, to a certain extent, the lone cop kind of taking on criminals and that kind of stuff was the thing of Clint Eastwood movies. But this kind of redefined the genre, because this one was based on a novel called The Detective, which was written by a guy named Roderick Thorpe. Okay, now The Detective was a novel that was based in St. Louis, and it starred a cop who basically took down a bunch of criminals. The sequel, Nothing Lasts Forever, was actually turned into this movie, Die Hard. Okay, and so this movie had an everyday ordinary man, played by Bruce Willis, who goes in Christmas time to go visit his wife, and she got this job out in LA, and then these terrorists come and take over the building, and he fights all the terrorists. Okay, so this kind of spawned a whole genre of brand new hero cop, hero person, lone man against an entire army of villains genre of filmmaking. Okay, so movies like Under Siege and various other movies of that ilk kind of owe it to Die Hard, which had a spin-off of successful sequels, including Die Hard 2, Die Harder, and Die Hard with a Vengeance, A Good Day to Die Hard, and Live Free or Die Hard. Granted, they're not in order, but I was just kind of running off the litany there. So Die Hard is kind of the originator of the one man against an entire army. This is something that we really hadn't seen that much before. This movie came out in 1988. Now, in 2018, 30 years after the original Skyscraper came out, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson plays an everyday man named Will Sawyer, who was a former FBI agent, okay, and he's turned into an amputee. If you've seen the previews, this is old news, okay? You can actually see it in the previews. He's an amputee, and he's a security consultant. He's got his own business, and he's trying to grow his business. Now, he is summoned to a building called the Pearl, which is billed as the tallest structure in the world. Chin Han plays Zhao Long Ji. It's hard to say. He's the one that kind of owns the building, okay? And he's, kind of hired Will to come in and check and make sure that everything is up to code in terms of security. Is everything, state of the art? Is everything perfect for this building? Because we don't want to put residents in the building and then have a fire happen, and then, people are like, oh, and then deaths happen, So we just, so they have this guy, Will Sawyer, come out to look at the building. Neve Campbell plays The Rock's wife, and she's making a long anticipated return to movies since probably the mid-90s. So she looks a lot like the Runa Mitra from Shooter, the Mark Wahlberg film of the same name, and they kind of look similar. So for me, it was like I was sitting in the theater and I'm like, who is that? I know that woman. I know her. And when I finally got down, I'm like, wait, that was Neve Campbell? No way! Like, that was crazy. So definitely one of the surprise hits of the summer. It's your typical popcorn blockbuster action film. And the funny thing is that the villain, played by Roland Muller, is, he's kind of Hans Gruber-esque, like our good old friend Die Hard here. So he's very cold and calculating, and I'm going to make people do things by doing certain things, and so it's very interesting. So things kind of spiral out of control very quickly, in a sort of Towering Inferno meets Die Hard sort of way. It's very interesting. I would highly recommend this film. The writer, brand new in Hollywood, I think. He's kind of a writer director like Ryan Johnson, like J.J. Abrams, like a lot of these people are in Hollywood these days. Instead of taking someone else's story and trying to turn it into a movie, a passable movie, they actually come in and they say, okay, we're going to have this, brand new movie, and this person's coming in to do it. So very different than your typical like Marvel movies and that kind of stuff. So it's definitely worth a check. It's a really wonderful film. The chemistry between The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and his two kids, the newcomers, McKenna Roberts and Noah Cottrell. The chemistry between them is very good. Like, you have no trouble on screen believing that they're father and daughter and son. And his chemistry with Neve Campbell actually works really well. So it's one of those things where you have no trouble kind of believing that this is a man who is now coming in and saying, hey, I'm my family's in trouble and I need to help them. So it's a wonderful film. I really, really enjoyed this film. I would highly recommend this, especially if you love action films, or if you like Dwayne Johnson's work so far in Hollywood. A lot of his movies are very family friendly, so I would definitely check this out. It is rated PG-13. There's not much language. There's no sexuality in it, so it's a wonderful film, and so I'd highly recommend Skyscraper. So, that's it for now. Probably my next one, I'm going to start doing a little kind of a retrospective on the Mission Impossible franchise, because just this last week, as of this recording, Mission Impossible Fallout, and I'm going to go see it tomorrow. So I'll probably post up a review of Mission Impossible Fallout, and what I might do is I might just go ahead and do the entire Mission Impossible series from the original in 1996 until now in 2018. Now that the franchise is like 20 years old, it's kind of crazy to think that this thing has been going on for 20 friggin' years. And Tom Cruise is still doing his own stunts and still busting his ankles out on sides of buildings and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely keep a lookout for that. I'll try to get that one out by this weekend, or before this weekend. I'm going to have some things coming up in my life, so definitely stay tuned to Russ's Movie Corner. I'm Russ, and I'll see you next time.